Has times really gotten this hard?
Physical media was inevitably going to go away. I know it. It just feels a little soon. I mean, a decade ago, physical games were thriving. At the most, digital and physical had just become equals. Well, digital and physical games that existed since the PS3, they were 1 in a million. Although over time, it became more common, especially with the introduction of the Nintendo Switch. The system had a 32GB limit for cartridges, something some modern games struggled to fit on, meaning select games had to either include part of the game on the cart or go full-blown digital. Certain games required some downloads so big it got to the point where people ended up choosing digital. And with major digital sales, such as Steam's, it eventually led to so many people deciding to choose digital. And while it sucks, there's nothing we can do about it. With over 80% of sales being digital, it felt like physical discs had lost their purpose. Except, that's not true. I mean, entire companies started exclusively publishing physical games. The Sony published games released in retail had fairly even splits. They just skewed the results with digital-only software and DLC. That's not a fair comparison considering thousands of games released digital only. Even if digital sales were only a quarter of total games, it'd still be the majority. That couldn't mean no. Game companies have hated to use media for the longest time. The first ever solution came with the online pass. Certain games required codes to scan to play online. If it was expired or already redeemed, you had to pay a $10 fee. This later evolved into the Xbox One, in which it locked games to your system and required internet to function. This caused the Xbox One to be flooded with negative attention, forcing them to remove it, meaning used games remained a major force in the industry. But then, something magical happens. Oh, what the fuck? Xbox Game Pass, PlayStation Plus, and Nintendo Switch Online came out. For at times as cheap as $1 a month, you could play a bunch of games, even if you didn't own them. As soon as your membership expired, however, all your physical games disappeared. Alongside this, digital-only consoles appeared for a cheaper price, although locked you into digital gaming. Even with something like the PlayStation Disc Drive expansion Sony made, which is really great considering they made certain physical collectors buy PS5 codes and an extra disc drive the year before they announced they were discontinuing it, by the way. Now, I'm not judging you for using these. Not everyone's as fortunate to be able to afford the best system. And these streaming services work as great values. I'm subscribed to the most expensive tier, both Game Pass and NSO. Now, in between writing this section, I renewed my membership to Game Pass. But realistically, we need to acknowledge the fact that game companies are doing this for a reason. I mean, it's obviously gotten to the point where physical games aren't even physical now. Now, the main example of this people would point to is game key cards. But game companies have been doing this for years, to the point where most people would rather buy digital. Now, despite all this and the rumors surrounding the Xbox Helix being digital only, I have hope for Microsoft, but being realistic about it. All that leaves is Nintendo, who I have the most hope for by far. Nintendo knows their consumer pools love physical games. Honestly, I find it surprising they've never even made a digital-only variant of their system, and stayed loyal to all their games. They do this crazy thing, where you put a game in and... Nintendo is the only company I have complete faith in, although, even then, Nintendo started pricing their games cheaper digitally, which, to be clear, is a great deal, and I don't think is part of keeping people to buy digital. Honestly, I think it's just because of the high cost of the 64GB cartridge, and to try to numb the sting of increasing in price due to jacking up the price of everything. But still, this could boost digital sales, and with Nintendo being the only player left, it may eventually get to the point where they'll eventually drop out too. Not a lot, but yeah, not a lot. But for starters, bitch. Bitch as much as possible. Show them you won't give them your money if they're doing stupid shit like this. Except GTA 6. Anyway, outside of select exceptions, I normally try to stick to physical games, but if that isn't your style, like, yeah, Indiana Jones may not look as sexy, but the full game's on the cartridge. You can play it in handheld, even if Nintendo decides to ditch it in the next generation. The Switch one lasted over 8 years as Nintendo's only console on the market. You still have a decade of physical games. Now, there's still the issue of exclusives on other consoles, but in that case, just buy an older system. or an Xbox Helix. That right, I still have a Super Nintendo. But if you're thinking about PlayStation, keep your PS4 Series X or buy an Xbox One or PS4. Hell, even a PS3 360. 90% of these games are fucking remasters. If you really want to play Last of Us or Demon Souls or Horizon, and they aren't available physically on the new machine, just buy an older version. But even then, if you can't do any of that, just buy physical games. Show companies you want these out, not just for games. Buy movies, music. I mean, on Kijiji for $5, I found. You gotta be fucking kidding me. Okay, I am pretty proud of this one overall. The writing, actually did a very good job. I feel like I've done a good job with, getting more into like a comedic flow, at least in comparison to the other videos. There's jokes in this one now. I definitely think this is like me getting into the groove a bit. Still not great. Like, I know I got a lot of issues with like the mic. And I know it's not like great with the editing, but I am definitely trying. And I have like some big stuff I'm working on. Like I'm trying to bring back like the whole short film thing with Area 304. I got like some Area 305 stuff and I also have like, a very big project. I finished writing it, and I'm hoping to release it sometime in August. I'm not going to say what, because a lot of big projects I've worked on have just shit the bed basically. So it's best not to risk it. But overall, I am excited. This is just more so me saying I'm back, pretty much. But they should probably cut it off now. So, yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Bye. I guess fucking I don't know.